Good evening. You're watching the news at 7:30 on ATV. I'm Raymond Yeung.
And I'm Bo Leung. Here's a look at tonight's top stories.
Ariana's employer behind bars awaiting sentencing after being found guilty of abusing Indonesian maid.
West Kowloon Arts Hub chief steps down early, claiming health reasons just like his predecessor.
And Siwa Leung condemns anti-mainland protesters but offers no solution for overcrowding in Tuen Mun. Indonesian domestic helper Ariana's former employer has been found guilty of a catalogue of abuses against her in a case that brought international attention to the plight of maids in Hong Kong.
Mother of two Law Wan-tung is behind bars awaiting sentencing later this month and could face a maximum jail term of 7 years. Ariana Solestianingsi was mobbed by the media and her supporters when she arrived at the district court in Wan Chai this morning to hear the fate of the woman who mistreated, abused and intimidated her for 7 months. The Indonesian domestic helper's former employer, 44-year-old mother of two Law Wan-tung, hid behind her lawyer as she made her way into court. The former beautician cried in the dock as the judge ordered her to be remanded in custody after finding her guilty of 18 of the 20 charges against her. Ariana became a global symbol of abused domestic helpers in January last year when she left Hong Kong bruised and battered. Images of the critically injured and traumatized young woman were circulated around the world, causing shock and outrage. During the 16-day trial that began last December, the court heard about a catalogue of abuse, beatings and threats. Law had denied all the assault charges laid against her, only admitting to one count of failing to buy insurance for her employee. Outside the court, Ariana and her supporters were jubilant.
I'm very happy. I won the case.
Why you feel happy? Why you won the case?
Yeah, because I will get the justice from Hong Kong.
Judge Amanda Woodcock relied solely on Ariana's testimony, which she found to be credible to give her justice. She described the abused woman as a simple young lady trying to financially better her life and that of her family. Judge Woodcock rejected defense claims that Ariana wanted to frame her former employer and had a hidden financial agenda or personal vendetta against Law. She suggested that the more Law abused Ariana, the more intimidated and subservient she became, encouraging her employer to continue mistreating her. Judge Woodcock found Law guilty of causing grievous bodily harm with intent when she stuck the tube of a vacuum cleaner into Ariana's mouth and twisted it, causing lacerations to her lips. The former beautician punched the helper so hard on one occasion that she was knocked unconscious. On another occasion, Law stripped Ariana naked, splashed cold water on her and forced her to stand in front of a fan for hours during winter. The court also found Law guilty of criminal intimidation for threatening to kill Ariana and her family if she told anyone about the abuse. Judge Woodcock said the fact that Ariana believed her employer showed how simple and timid she was. Even though Ariana suffered from severe dermatitis, Law did not take her to see a doctor for fear of being exposed, Woodcock said. Law was also convicted of assaulting and threatening another maid, Tutik Lestari Ningsi, between April 2010 and March 2011. But she was acquitted of assaulting and intimidating a third Indonesian helper. Law was also ordered to pay Ariana around $28,800 in wages owed. She's now behind bars and will be sentenced on the 27th of February, pending psychiatric reports and character references. Woodcock warned her that because of the serious nature of the case, a jail term is inevitable.
Ariana said today she has forgiven her employer, but Law Wan-tung got what she deserved for abusing her.
The Indonesian maid and her supporters are urging the government to change existing rules to ensure it doesn't happen again. ATV's Winner Wong reports.
When Ariana met the media this afternoon, she was forgiving but firm towards the woman who abused and traumatized her for months.
As human being, I could forgive her and her family. But since Hong Kong has a justice system, justice must be upheld.
Ariana then addressed employers of others like her.
I hope they will start treating migrant workers as workers and human beings and stop treating us like slaves. Because as human beings, we all have equal rights.
The Indonesian maid supporters blamed the government squarely for the plight of foreign domestic helpers like her.
Ariana is the face and the voice of foreign domestic workers who, like her, are also victims of Hong Kong government's unjust policies. It's about time that the Hong Kong government makes true its promises to sincerely address the issues exposed in the Ariana case.
Migrant workers' groups are demanding the scrapping of the 2-week rule, which gives foreign domestic helpers only 14 days to find new employers if they are sacked or resign. Advocates say the limited time makes it difficult for cash-strapped abused workers to take their employers to court because legal procedures can drag on for months. Concerned groups also want the government to get rid of the live-in rule for maids. Apart from being at the beck and call of their employers round the clock, the rule also forces them to accept living arrangements provided by their bosses, no matter how bad. Police urge domestic helpers to report abuse, assuring them of protection.
And even if there are cultural differences or the domestic helpers feel afraid to come forward to the authorities in Hong Kong, they should feel safe and confident that their case will be treated properly.
Labour Minister Matthew Cheung welcomed the verdict, saying the government is committed to protecting workers' rights. Winna Wong, ETV News.
The Australian executive who runs the West Kowloon Arts Hub has announced that he's stepping down early for health and personal reasons after extending his contract last July.
Michael Lynch is the second official to quit the post early, but the government has dismissed concerns that it's having trouble finding someone to stay. The West Kowloon Arts Hub is going to be rudderless again. Michael Lynch, who oversees the multi-billion-dollar project, will step down as Chief Executive Officer of the West Kowloon Cultural District Authority on the 3rd of August. He's citing health and personal reasons for the early exit.
There are a lot of questions about why would you employ a man to do West Kowloon who uses a stick. At that point, that I was pretty confident I had a new hip and I was intent on being able to make it work, that I could sing and dance as well as anyone in Hong Kong.
The 64-year-old Australian, who's been in the post since 2011, extended his contract for 2 years last July, but he now wants to return home to look after his seriously ill wife. He does not feel it's been a waste of time and money for everyone.
The venues in the park makes me feel very confident that with the team of people that we've now got working for us, all of the staff and the board, that it's a good time for me to give notice of my intention to go. I still recognise it's a huge project. It was always going to take a lot longer period of time than I was able to give to it, and that was part of my thinking.
Chief Secretary Carrie Lam, who chairs the authority, will lead a global search for a replacement. She dismissed concerns about problems holding on to qualified people for the job, amid speculation about government interference and public pressure. Lynch's predecessor, Graham Sheffield, quit after just 5 months in 2011, citing health reasons. He went on to take over as Arts Director of the British Council 2 months later, leaving the Hong Kong government red-faced.
Chief Executive Leung Chun-ying has condemned protesters who turned violent during a rally against mainland parallel traders and shoppers in Tuen Mun over the weekend.
He insisted his government is tackling the problems that triggered the protest, but did not offer any solution in terms of controlling the influx of cross-border visitors. Before his weekly cabinet meeting this morning, Leung Chun-ying spoke publicly for the first time about the flare-up in tensions between local residents and mainland visitors in Tuen Mun. Hundreds of angry residents took to the streets of the border district on Sunday, complaining that the influx of mainland shoppers has made life unbearable for them. Police used pepper spray and batons to break up angry mobs who stormed into shopping malls to vent their frustrations. Leung today condemned the violence, saying it's unacceptable for a small number of people to express their grievances by disrupting public order. The government will act strictly according to the law in dealing with such illegal behavior, he promised. As for the problem of parallel traders, which was what triggered Sunday's protest, he insisted that various departments have already been taking action against them. To those who are complaining that he's not doing enough, the chief executive pointed out that he had successfully asked Beijing to shelve a plan that would have allowed 4 million non-permanent Shenzhen residents to come here on multiple entry permits. But he did not offer to do anything about visitor numbers. In a rare move, Shenzhen Party Secretary Wang Leung also stated his views on the issue today. Answering reporters' questions in Guangzhou, Wang pointed out the severe problem of food safety on the mainland has led to many flocking across the border to stock up on basic supplies. But he is hopeful that the situation will improve as the central government strengthens food safety regulations to restore public confidence. Despite concerns about mainlanders causing a shortage of baby milk powder here, the Consumer Council has found that the situation has actually improved.
Customs officers say they're doing their part, having seized 89 tons of infant formula since limits were imposed in 2013. ATV's Alison Chan reports.
Addressing public concerns about rampant parallel trading, the Customs and Excise Departments promised today to intensify its crackdown on such illegal activities during the Chinese New Year.
We will assist particularly the Immigration Department through our plainclothes investigators doing surveillance in different districts to pinpoint areas where we suspect there are storages, distributors, and areas.
Since a 2-can limit was imposed on cross-border travelers in March 2013, customs officers have handled 9,160 cases of illegal smuggling involving a total of 89 tons of baby milk powder. The customs chief called for tougher penalties to discourage the illegal trade. But despite concerns that mainlanders are buying up supplies at the expense of locals, the Consumer Council reported today that the shortage of infant formula has actually eased.
Maybe because of the complaints, because the society is putting a lot of focus on this issue. So the supplier, they really try to pile up more products for sales.
Surprisingly, the retail price of a tin of milk powder fell from an average of $380 last year to a maximum of $295 this year. According to a survey conducted by the watchdog, the most obvious improvement was in Shenzhen, where 9 out of 10 shops ran out of supplies last year. The watchdog identified Po Lam as the worst hit area this year, where 2 out of 10 shops have no milk powder. Alison Chan, ATV News.
The head of Taiwan's cabinet-level agency in charge of mainland policy has stepped down over a scandal involving his deputy.
Wang Yuqi had fired his number 2 over allegations that he had leaked secrets to Beijing, but prosecutors could not find enough evidence. ATV's Joyce Wu reports.
It's the fallout from a scandal that gripped Taiwan for months. Wang Yuqi, head of the Mainland Affairs Council, stepped down today to take responsibility for forcing his former deputy Chang Xianyao to resign last year on suspicion that he had leaked secrets to Beijing. But prosecutors said there wasn't enough evidence against Chang. At a press conference that was televised live today, Wang apologized for causing turmoil. But he said he disagreed with the prosecutors and felt very disappointed and powerless over the outcome, although he respected their decision. Relations across the Taiwan Strait have improved drastically in recent years, and political analysts say Wang's departure is not expected to have much impact on relations between the two sides. Joyce Wu, ATV News.
Opposition leader Anwar Ibrahim has vowed to continue fighting for freedom and justice as Malaysia's top court upheld his conviction for sodomy. Police in the Malaysian capital, Kuala Lumpur, pushed aside his supporters as he was driven away, presumably to serve a 5-year term. Anwar has said the charge was politically motivated. In court, he told the judges that they had become partners in crime in the murder of judicial independence. Anwar stands to lose his parliamentary seat and the chance to contest the next general election.
US President Barack Obama has not ruled out arming Ukraine in its conflict with pro-Russian rebels.
But he is postponing a decision until a crucial meeting in Minsk tomorrow. Here's Joyce Wu.
Pro-Russian separatists have stepped up their offensive in Volodymyr near Donetsk in eastern Ukraine. Fighting also intensified around the strategic railway hub of Debaltseve in the same area. The rebels say they have cut off a key supply road to the town, but the claim has been denied by Ukraine's pro-Western government. Away from the fighting, German Chancellor Angela Merkel has continued a shuttle aimed at ending the crisis on her doorstep. Her latest stop was Washington for talks with President Barack Obama. The US has imposed sanctions on Russia, accusing President Vladimir Putin of sending troops and weapons to eastern Ukraine. Moscow has denied the allegations. Obama said he hopes the problem can be resolved through diplomacy, but did not rule out raising the stakes, alleging that Russia had violated a peace deal made last year.
The possibility of lethal defensive weapons is one of those options that's being examined. But I have not made a decision about that yet.
Merkel opposes sending US arms to Ukraine and is banking on four-way talks in Minsk tomorrow for a resolution. She will join French President François Hollande and Ukrainian leader Petro Poroshenko for talks with Putin. They will try to breathe new life into the peace agreement and end a conflict that has killed more than 5,000 people in the past year and threatened fresh hostilities between East and West. Joyce Wu, ATV News.
Time now for sports with Anjang.
So what's been happening in football?
There's agony and ecstasy. It's a tale of two cities, one celebrating a famous victory and another descending into chaos.
Ecstasy in Abidjan, capital of Ivory Coast. Hundreds of thousands of people thronged the streets to welcome home the newly crowned kings of African football. Ivory Coast defeated Ghana in a dramatic penalty shootout in Equatorial Guinea to clinch the African Nations Cup, triggering wild celebrations back home. It was a different story across the Atlantic Ocean. In Brazil, violence erupted after the Sao Paulo derby between arch-rivals Palmeiras and Corinthians. Riot police fired smoke bombs to disperse the crowds, who pelted officers with chairs and missiles. Liverpool are said to be offering 20-year-old forward Raheem Sterling as much as $120,000 a week to stop European clubs from poaching him.
The player's very happy and wants to continue working in the way that he has been.
Sterling, who has made 112 appearances for Liverpool, is the club's most influential player this season.
Finally, the weather forecast for the next few days. Mainly cloudy at first tomorrow, followed by sunny periods and some haze. Temperatures will range from 14 to 18 degrees. The following couple of days will be fine but hazy ahead of a mainly cloudy weekend. Here's a look at the weather around the world.
That's our main news for Tuesday night. I'm Bo Leung.
I'm Ann Chang.
And I'm Raymond Yeung. Thanks for watching ATV. Good night.
Good night.
Lifestyle Checkpoint. An extraordinary adventure through Japan starts. Prepare to be overwhelmed by the world of Japanese culture. Begin Japanology, tonight at 8:30. All about Asia. Travel around fabulous Asia. Explore the wonders of nature.
I'm sure the bungee jumpers will remember this for many, many years to come.
It's about 28 meters high. There's one abundant flow of water. Look at that.
Feast your eyes on the irresistible local cuisine.
It's really good. I can see why people eat this almost every day here.
You'll get an amazing experience, second to none. Yours truly, Asia, Thursday night at 10.
投資先要下功夫。
上海製造喺內地買嘅？
唔一定喺內地先買到上海嘢嘅，好似而家有滬港通，俾投資者喺香港買埋上海上市嘅 A 股。
咁咪有更多投資選擇。
不過滬港通有投資限制， 例如投資額度同只限於指定嘅股票，而且兩地股市喺交易結算、法規、費用同稅項都有分別。投資前一定先要了解相關風險啊！
資訊由投資者教育中心提供。
Mega hit 900. The clown's haunting reveals the dirty secret of a happy marriage.
I can help you.
Help me? No, you're the one that ruined everything. She's gonna run again and then it's gonna be too late.
Keep her away from children. Who are you? Please just stop staring at me!
Ghost Whisperer. Tonight at 9. Want to promote your latest products on television? ATV's 2015 Ad Easy Super Package is the right choice for you. Our price starts, and our promotion coverage reaches as far as the Pearl River Delta region and southern China. Call us now for more details.